Is a day to remember in the Uganda's history. Is the day the ruling national resistance movement came into power. 37 years they have been taking us through. Happy Liberation Day, Uganda. We start off the bulletin. The National Resistance Movement, NRM, today is celebrating 37 years of liberation. The function is being held in Karumu district under the theme, our result, effort to transform Uganda is our promise we shall fulfill. Our reporter
today, His Excellency the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the National Resistance Movement government marks 37 years since being sworn in on 29th January 1986 amidst the political euphoria as the defeated military junta led by General Tito Okello Lutwa and Uganda National Liberation Army UNRA retreated into hiding and eventually exile. At the inaugural address, President Museveni, on the steps of Parliament, surrounded by his ragtag army, pledged without the feeling of a burden a fundamental change in the management of Uganda, which he was inheriting as a failed state. Uganda had been parceled into fiefdoms controlled by at least 9 different military factions, including groups allied to Idi Amin Dada, ousted in April 1979 by a combination of Tanzanian army and Ugandan exiles. The mainstay of the military factions, except NRA, that is now NRM, in their respective fiefdoms was extortion, violent robberies, rape, and murder. Politicians elected in the 1980 general elections had been reduced to spectators as events unfolded before their helpless eyes, and hapless political parties. Paul Semwogerere, who died recently as President General of the Democratic Party, chose to cut his losses, entering alliance with Lutwa, and later NRM serving both as Internal Affairs Minister. Apollo Milton Obote and many Uganda People's Congress stalwarts deposed earlier on July 1985 coup had settled in exile in Lusaka, Zambia, Kenya, Europe, while others hide within Uganda. The unlucky Security Minister Chris KASESE was cutting in Luzira maximum prison, having been intercepted by UNRA at the Owen Falls Dam, Jinja, trying to free the coup into Kenya. After 2 decades in prison, sentenced, who was a high-profile, if not comic minister, boasting that UNRA were giving the bandits bloody nose in Luel, is today senior presidential advisor to Museveni. So this year's commemoration being held in Kakume district under the theme, our resolute effort to transform Uganda is a promise to fulfill. We present bouquets and barbs to the NRM. For establishing and consolidating countrywide peace, security, stability, and conciliation, the NRM gets very high bright banquets. Political reconciliation, amnesty, inclusion, and economic rejuvenation, birth, stability, and peaceful continuity, for which NRM gets a banquet. NRM gets another banquet for ending extrajudicial killings by the state agents, but for permitting the recent return of high-handed arrests and sometimes illegal detentions in ungazetted presses and isolated cases of torture in by security agencies, NRM gets a bab. The 10-point program promised to establish popular and participatory democracy, rule of law, constitutionalism, free, fair, and regular elections, which have all been done since 1987, starting with the resistance councils and expanded NRC, enacting the Constituent Assembly, which debated promulgated a new constitution. Since 1996, Uganda has held 5 presidential, parliamentary, and local elections where leadership changed. NRM receives another big banquet. However, for failing to stamp out election bribery, intimidation, and violence, NRM should get a bab. National Resistance Movement has the success scored on political governance, socio-economic transform grade are meant to enumerate here. The pillars of the NRM success have been many, the most critical one being a correct ideology of unity, inclusive, broad-based mass liberation. For this long, a big booklet. The National Resistance Movement leadership, particularly President Museveni, has been steadfast, consistent, focused and flexible when conditions demand in order to remain on the critical priorities, enabling Uganda to achieve these successes even with the very limited resources. And in hostile environment, the NRM has been able to balance the means available to the critical tasks at hand without causing a crash. NRM has ensured continuous recruitment, mobilization, and the training of cross-generational membership, cadreship, and leadership able to propagate and defend its gains. In just a space of 3 decades, Uganda has registered unrivaled progress in major sectors of the economy, despite political disturbances by some anarchists. As responsible citizens, Uganda are called upon by the 1995 Constitution to participate in the development of their country and also reject violence of the self-seekers who may want to drag us backwards. Young men and women sacrificed their lives during the years of resistance for the development and governance of Uganda. They endured humiliation, lost limbs, eyes, while others died and remain in unmarked graves. Many abandoned their studies, lost their names, whereas others deserted their families to bring an end to tyranny and turmoil. These courageous men and women trekked long distances, often without water, food and shelter, in leading the resistance and liberation and now the successful completion of the recovery. Museveni has been joined by many equally courageous people who should build a prosperous and inclusive Uganda. The fundamental change is unfolding before our own eyes. For Gntv, Atkunda Matthias in Kakumiro.
Thank you, reporter, for that report. In other stories, as Uganda is celebrating the Liberation Day, MPs have expressed mixed reactions, saying that the government has done a lot, but there is still a lot to be done. Our reporter reports.
Today, the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and NRM government marks the 37th year since being sworn in on 29th January 1986 amidst a political euphoria as they defeated military junta led by General Tito Okello Lutwa and Uganda National Liberation Army, retreated into hiding and eventual exile. At the inaugural address, President Museveni on the steps of Parliament, surrounded by his ragtag army, preached without the feeling of a burden, a fundamental change in the management of Uganda, which was inheriting as a failed state.
Because in Africa we have seen so much change that change has become meaningless. It's no longer change but merely turmoil. This group getting rid of that group and that group doing worse than the group it got rid of.
MPs have come out to say that NRM government, since it grabbed power, it has done too much for the Ugandans and they appreciate. Speaking to Honorable Member at KASESE Rita Bwahika, woman member of Parliament from Mbarara, says the government has helped a girl child in education sector and they know how the world runs.
Nisima bintu bingi namuno muno aha mwana wo mu kikino mukazi ekindi kandi nabinjo mu Uganda ekituli ekyo kubanza okutuha obwegesi NRM okubasa okutaho constitution eri kwinganisa kandi eri kuha obugabe omwana wo mu kikino mukazi obugabe bwo gukora sente obugabe bwo kushoma obugabe bwo gukora emirimo mwene obugabe bwo kwongera okukundi ihanga ritu no kubasa kubeeramu ekyo kurota okuba turi aha abantu bashomire ba dokita bariho abashomesa bariho mwene bintu nk'ebi obusinjo mu makaburuho n'omukazi yagira obugambiro hati omuparlament y'ikumi twahika aha kubasa okuragwa nitwe twabarwa nk'abana nsho yanarago banyoko niwe nakureba nk'omuntu kandi ndido y'omuntu akoraga nabasa no kuhereza okuba mukuru weka abeni we bintu ya kwasa mwene cyo nikisima abo kubanya nko mushiki cyakubire kitaruho kitarizire NRM n'abakoze constitution bakakitamu kubishukabire kandi n'abantu bonto ukakirimo bikwetaga kutereza ebikwata aha ukubona bonesa abana bico kwamba kutigani bahamba abana bato babatoroboza abantu ntibakiterwa mu maka kwando bumwe n'ebyentasi abakazi nito tukiyabo abakazi nito kiri kusingayo ubutashoma abakazi nito kusingayo butagira miruke nito tukusingayo mu business buce abo butari numbareba abakwe ko rebe kujya ahamutwe batunda ni baronda ukwereza abana abizireho no muze mubi government ino kurugayo okubasa kutabashija ahatera girongo wazaro umwana ukwatanise na nyino murebera ato muzoguhizire umjija natwe ko mushiki abora amureberera we ni ngo muntu ashwirwe ino mukazineka agenda twe ko ndijo umwana mwe hakana yanga kumurebera mwene utakabire uje okushoronzya mu byamateka no mu byakoti okucendeza obwiro bari kumanya bakutwara imishangweje abo kuba bakaze bahendeka oyina abana mukago mushata kwenda pafiza takwenda kubahezirwaro tayenzere kushashora ka rent mwenyo ninjira ngwaho itotaka kutereza obwo buzire no bw'abantu babiri omushija n'umukazi bakwatanise kandi no kongera kuranga abashija batwara umvunanisinga nabo iyo kurota kwenda kuzara ni wogera machisa kuwataho waza kweterana kongo magusuga wasiko wayezo mu cyo enda omukazi wamuhenda kandi bambi ukamunagira umwana kunkani Russia abanyambara abanyarwanda abo kujaguza ko nyakasha na mushanju ya NRM kandi tunjere ukora namani tuihe.
According to Honorable James Kaberuka, NRM has helped Ugandans in many sectors, especially in road sector, whereby many roads now are tarmacked.
Buri muntu we no mu Uganda na yekorera arikorerwa na government na yekorera konka na itaga mbera za government ezeri kutaho enungi ezikumubasa okore mitubye akashubura akahinga akeza akegesa akakora business ze akaba ezemberezo NRM kagira ki kakitaho mwe naho tiko kizana no muntu kugira ngo NRM tinde cyegize ki cyekoze eki NRM wareba ati no rwakanu rwo rugiye mu rutama tukajya muri NRM tinde cyegize ki cyekoze because kiri kubi umunye ntuto konka yine cyegize ki cyekoze NRM ebasise ebigombe ebyo bwebemezi byo butegeke byabire biremire kubaho kugira ngo byona bigeki bibeho bona ba exercising democracy icyo NRM kikozire konka hariho nebindi ebyekozire kwatagana n'imibereho y'abantu kaherese
okuzabuza kwa NRM n'ekintu kikuru kumanya yiturugire yitwahika yitukuza nabwo ikintu tutora umuhando hatuwaza gomo side y'obwegese NRM ikintu kikuru kiyakozire no kureba ngo umuntu we no rukwenda kutungura ebibwegese yatunga umuci to private schools abo ka government yonka beta kuja kukibasa so ukwikiriza abantu bakatandika amashomero ga private kikaretera abanya-Uganda bengi bazo mu kushoma tuga private kugira ngo na level ya primary mu secondary na za university kuko muri mu buciri y'umuhango ibyo kozesa byakakagire abashomesa mbichweka bingi bari mu bwebo weka karundo rwa university shanga abashomesa batakumara nabwo icyo government icyo no gukora karundo rwa university no kureba nka makerere n'amana go kwasa kushomesa abashomesa abakubasa kushomesa mu za university kandi ekwatirine na za secondary school nabwo okureba habaho oburinganizi batubyo kongera imishara abantu bona tukabongera imishara.
NRM Liberation Day is a national holiday in Uganda observed on January 26th each year. Also commonly known as National Liberation Day, the holiday marks the overthrow of the previous government by the National Resistance Movement on this day, 1986. KASESE for Gntv at 12.
Our reporter Desire Asima for that reporter for now. Allow us take a quick commercial break. We'll return back with more stories.
This is Gntv, releasing life.
Ekiroto kya buli muzire weena n'okuheereza omwana we ekyokukireyo bulungi yikiriza nkwanjulira amashomero ga Midland Parents Boarding Secondary Schools ageegulire izina omukubangula b'eby'omugenje bw'enzarwa hamwe n'okubaheereza obukugu bw'okwikiriza ebirooto byabwe bya nyensakale. Amashomero aga gali amusingi gw'oburokore bwennyini. Twine kampasi ibiri, emwe eri Kawoto muri Kajjansi hamwe na Karagara Mpigi haruguto rwa Kampala. Nibakira abojo hamwe n'abishiki kandi ni boarding yonka. Ebyokwerinda ishomero eri nebyo mulembe buzima nibashomesa arts hamwe na sciences kandi beyandikise na ministry y'ubwegese hamwe n'ebyemizangwa n'entambula eri ku isi y'omwana wawe y'ishomero byona nibo bikuhera busha. Ekyokwetenga ni admission form y'emitwaro 5 kandi school fees n'emitwaro 89 zonka. Bakwigulireho office omuli Mbarara aha Ikla building ali Victor Bwana Road aha Mwarara gwa kabiri room F21. Okumanya bekukiraho nobasa kubaterera esimu ya 0777
TV, releasing life.
Welcome back from that quick TV at 12 with me, Winnie Kinimbabazi Mushabe. Moving on to other stories. Reaction on liberation in Bara City as Uganda is celebrating the Liberation Day today. Authorities in Bara City stress the concern why people should celebrate the day because a lot has been done. Speaking to the RCC City North, Lieutenant Colonel James Message says NRM has James Message says NRM has enhanced people from poverty. Let's take a look.
Democracy ekeje mu ihangire akaruka katerwa twahirize kwetegeka kaga n'ebiri akaruhuko kubanza katerwa kinana akabiri katerwa 96 mbwenu hati buri myaka 5 utera akaruhu tutanabembeze buturukwenda iyo ni demokarasi ebyentunguka twaza kwija umuyihango mu kucungura nka NRM abantu bari hansi
y'abanyayuganda bona izo barungi eri tukwijuka ubu NRA ubu bateka ingova governance nizo bari twijukaho ruhango Uganda byarugombuzahi kandi ekaza a collect line hata ituri nizoba eri twijuka entunguka yihango byatanda ebintu birunje bitukuraramo obusinge democracy byona ejo yabiri yentandiko yabi so ni ejo yabiri yentandiko yabi so ni nteru muranga abanyayuganda bona twezumbiro mu kintu eki celebrating kongato celebrating twegemu abintu byitwine kwegamu twege ntunguka twegokora twegokwegesa abana bitu twege okombe kihanga ryitu
munutera abanyayuganda muranga abari kubinkitwe ngo batakaza celebrating na NRM because NRM tubagambe ngo nabashuma hati kirebegwe na muteri wazo mu kitongore cyenyonyi no bushuma umucamataka no bushuma umugidishare no bushuma umupolisi no bushuma owa IGG mpuriye na IGG hati ngo nabone bamucondoza uri kucondoza abana we bamucondoza hato rebe ngwite nutere ngaro ngutuza ku celebrate bazito mu mabondo gabo bagurira abantu abakutera karuru bazito mu banka heru otakagire ku celebrating banzo rebe igwaro ryawo ryarimo imbazi otakagire ku celebrating za charo wawe ureba abana ni banka abagraduate ngire abine mirimo otakaje ku celebrating banzo rebo uguto kurukura mu wana otahwanye muca otakaje ku celebrating banzo rebo ishomero ryawe rya government abashubuzi Ministry of Education officials bona bakakora amashomero ga private agitu bagareka gafa gawa muno celebrating okay bace abo the 10% abariji ababana babo binemirimo abakutambura mu nguto nunji abakurwara bakaza heru ababo bagire ba celebrating konkitwe owe waya y'amashanyarazi kuri abahiguru watakwasa no gatasamu no gatasamu bakasharokare habwe be y'amashanyarazi therefore there is no reason why we should celebrate this day.
Reporter for that report. The security authorities in Ankole region urges the general public to cooperate with them in order to fight crimes in the region. Speaking to Major Nisimare Mujuma, UPD spokesperson to Battalion Makenke says security of the area is secured and the public shouldn't worry about the security. Let's take a look.
Security is not bad. We are cooperating with the stakeholders in security. We are trying by all means to cooperate and protect the people and their properties. I'm just calling upon in this struggle of security the chairman LC1 and the stakeholders, all stakeholders in security, to always identify those people with nicknames and report them to the responsible offices. Let every Ugandan be responsible of the general security of the area, because we have the criminals who are these pite case safety cases that you find someone has killed another one just because of 50,000. Someone is grabbing the land and they develop conflicts. They ended up becoming bringing insecure situation. I'm calling upon that in the process of handling those cases that are likely to cause insecurity within an area, let every person identify those cases and those causes, and you report in time, so that we protect before those people create the conflicts that are likely to bring insecurity within the communities. We confidently inform you that the security is good because our borders are protected and we are in good cooperation with the general public. Whoever tries to come to disorganize the security, rapidly we handle that. On 6 February, we shall be in Mbarara, Kacheka Stadium, Mbarara City, celebrating that day. The Taresita means the day 6. It is the day when the struggle of National Resistance Army, now UPDF, launched its struggle of liberating the country. So this year we are going to celebrate that day in Mbarara City within the Ankole region. And we are ever celebrating this day, the day Taresita, annually. This is the 42nd Taresita celebrations. So we had been celebrating it. We started with the first year up to the one we are celebrating of 42nd. While celebrating this, we normally give a week before celebration, national celebrations. We come, interact with the civilians, sharing with them, constructing the schools, the identified schools by the local leaders, they identified the health centers. We renovate some buildings that they are identified by the local leaders in that particular area. So it is a week when we come closer to the wananchi of the civilians, showing them that we came from them and we are ever with them, and it is the civilians is the biggest tool in security. Without the civilians, you can't, in actual sense, guarantee the security. During the Taresita military activities or civil military activities in the Ankole region, we have also organized the football match between the army, the UPDF, and the team that shall be produced by the Mbarara region, this Ankole region, and the football and netball. Then plus we shall have the 8 kilometers marathon run that shall take place within Mbarara City. It will start from Nyamkyobora, then again ends at Nyamkyobora, and it will be the 8 kilometers run. So whoever wants to participate in that, please come on that day, and you happen to run with us as we are celebrating our national celebrations of Taresita.
Thank you, our reporter, for that report. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Taiwa, has tasked the Internal Affairs and Local Government to investigate a bylaw passed by KASESE Municipality Council, which seeks to recognize homosexuals and transgender people as minorities. Our reporter reports.
The Ministers of Internal Affairs and Local Government have been directed to investigate a bylaw passed by KASESE Municipal Council, which seeks to recognize homosexuals and transgender people as minorities. While issuing the directive yesterday, the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Taiwa, tasked the ministers to report to House urgently to the matter so that it is looked into by Parliament.
I received the news that KASESE Municipal Council made an attempt to pass a bylaw that recognizes homosexuals and transgender people as minorities. It first came to me on social media. I did the verification. My office called the crack called the cow, and we confirmed it. And this was brought with the clearance of the executive, brought by the Speaker of KASESE district. I want to make this very clear to all local governments in the country that there is no local government that can pass a bylaw that contravenes national laws. That's repugnantly. I have, and this warning is very serious, and I want the Minister of Local Government maybe to train these people, because it's embarrassing. I have gotten information that the council was being facilitated by an NGO called Human Rights Promotion Awareness Forum, coordinated by one Bob Chamanywa. I have the contacts. I'm going to pass them over to the Minister for Internal Affairs. And luckily enough, the Secretary for Production in that council, the one who saved the day and stood up and said, this council cannot pass laws that are in contravention of national laws. Going to target us. By all means, they will try to, go on you, threaten you, you will not get visas, you will not, but the main visa you have as a Ugandan is being a Uganda. And the Minister for Internal Affairs to take up this matter seriously with this NGO, and you follow the due process.
Za Asimwe Kajese for GNTV at 12.
Thank you, our reporter, for that report. In the stories, the Parliament Committee on Health yesterday visited the Kilembe Mines Hospital on issues of dictating funds on the hospitals by the Ministry of Health. According to the MP of KASESE district, who was speaking to our reporter, said that the hospital that was constructed in 1954 and it treats a population of 5,000 people. The Parliament Committee chairperson, headed by the Kabale Municipality MP, said the hospital will keep working and will be reactive as soon as possible. Our reporter Innocent has details.
KASESE Municipality, today I'm very happy that the plight I presented on the floor of Parliament Wednesday last week, the Committee of Health has responded. I'm grateful to the Speaker of Parliament for having allowed this committee to come on ground for fact-finding. We have made all presentations to justify why the hospital should not leave this place. In summary, as a short-term intervention, we are requesting to have a decision that the hospital credit line of medicine and supplies should be activated. We reacted because there was a drastic decision to deactivate the decision for the drugs, which in our view was rendering the hospital almost closed, and the request to the committee is to consider a recommendation that as immediate as possible, let this credit line be activated, let the flow of drugs now start coming to the minds of the hospital for the services of our people. As a long-term intervention, we are saying let the hospital be constructed back to the original site. The decision of whether the site is good or not, we are reliably informed. The expertise that came to check the land that has been given by Kilembe Mines Limited is good enough to cause a reconstruction of this hospital. We are grateful to the Committee of Health, very grateful as leadership of KASESE for having responded immediately. The matter was presented on the floor of Parliament. Me, as a person who presented that matter on the floor of Parliament, I am greatly humbled. The response has been immediate. Who am I to cause this to present, and immediately there is a response by Parliament? Who am I? I just believe it is by God's grace that this has happened. I thank you. District ate mu myuka akakiiko k'ebyobulamu aka Parliament ya Uganda. Tuzze wano e Kasese mu Kirembe Mines Hospital etera okutabanyizibwa amataba naye nga ekizibu ekituleese
but my views are very simple. First of all, the credit line for the drugs has been cut. As a short-term solution, we must reinstate this credit line so that the people who get services from here can get their drugs. The second thing is that we have seen the land which was donated by Kirembe Mines Limited, and we think that there should be services here. The hospital should be built in that land. There are some people who are being vague here and talking about Health Center 4, Health Center 3. That is the one that is supposed to be brought here. In my view, you cannot remove a hospital from Kirembe Mines or from the people of Kirembe and you bring Health Center 3 here. For me, in my view, I think when you remove a hospital, you bring hospital, you don't bring Health Center 4. And that will be my position even if I go back to Parliament. Thank you so much. Your names again? I'm medical doctor, I'm a consultant physician, and I'm a member of Parliament for Tabale Municipality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, our reporter. For that report, the Crime Intelligence tasked the team started in operations in Chankwanzi district after 5 cases of theft of motorbike vehicles and 2 border borders were registered from the sub-counties in November and December last year. We have details.
The Uganda Police spokesperson Fred Nanga said the Crime Intelligence Task Team started its operations in Chankwanzi district after 5 cases of theft of motor vehicles and 2 border borders were registered from the sub-counties of Ntwentwe, Nkwandwa, Kiriano, 524Q, while the 2 stolen Bajaj Boxer motorcycles were under registration number UFP 344Q and UFP 598H.
Intelligence has also cracked down on a vehicle theft racket in Chankwanzi and also in Greater Kampala in coordination with with our territorial units in Chankwanzi and Greater Kampala. They managed to carry out an intelligence-led operation that helped in dismantling an organized criminal gang that had specialized in the theft of motor vehicles from parking yards, from private parking yards, and they would thereafter drive these stolen vehicles to stolen vehicles to hidden spots in Kasangati, Mukono, and Wakiso, where the vehicles would be sold cheaply to buyers, and then we've established that other vehicles such as canters and tippers were dismantled and sold in form of spare parts. So far 12 suspects have been arrested. These even include 2 buyers from Mukono and Kalere, and we even have 2 proprietors of parking yards in Mukono who were also arrested because they were facilitating this vice of motor vehicle theft. So the arrest of these 12 suspects whom we are not going to reveal because this is still an active investigation, led to the successful recovery of 6 led to the successful recovery of 6 stolen motor vehicles and 1 motorcycle. Most of out of our investigations, we established that 5 motor vehicles were stolen from the sub-counties of Ntwetwe, Nkandwa, Chirianongo, and Byerima. In the months of November, 8 were also stolen. Our crime intelligence teams have so far recovered 6 motor vehicles. These include the Primo UBE 524, which belonged to Katumba Bosco and was now carrying a fake registration number UAY 738 belonging to Ganyana Alex district. Then the Sahara Nissan belonging to Ganyana Alex was recovered from Wantoni in Mukono district with a fake registration number UAE 011U from the former UAL 201H. The Canter Blue under registration number UBF 478H we found when it had been dismantled and chopped into spare parts at Karere, Kawempe division. Then another Canter tipper UAY 186 belonging to Kano Onya James was recovered from Misago in Chankwanzi district. We have a Primo UAV 950V that was recovered from Kasangati. We've not yet identified the owner. Then a 0V that was recovered from Kasangati. We've not yet identified the owner. Then another Canter UAM 490M was also recovered from Chiwala in Mukono, but we've not identified the owner. We also have a Bajaj Boxer registration number UBM 064 that was recovered from Boyogerere in Wakiso district. So we've submitted, for those that have not yet been identified, we've submitted the engine chassis number.
For GNTV.
Bank of Uganda Governor Professor Emmanuel Tumusime Mutebire for being a patriot, the promoter of culture.
Mama Mbabazi, the former Prime Minister and childhood friend of Professor Mutebile, praised the deceased for being at the helm of numerous interventions that lifted the economy of Uganda from the commodity scarcities, inflation and instabilities of the 1970s. David Bahati, the Minister of State for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, praised Mutebile for initiating and sponsoring the historic visit with the King of Toro Omukama Oyo Nyimba Kabamba Iguru made to Kigazi in 2019, saying that the visit of the monarch helped to cement ties and acceptability for thousands of the Bachiga that continue to migrate to Toro for settlement. The minister added that under his stewardship at Central Bank, the Uganda shillings remained stable amidst the storm of global economic turbulences. The memorial service was attended by his wife, Betty Chacho Mutebile, family members, Professor George Mondo Kagonyera, the Kabale University Chancellor Matthew Rukikaire, former Minister for Privatization, and among others. Mbabazi Beatrice, Gntv at 12.
Thank you, reporter Mbabazi Beatrice.